So yeah, we got a bit of Marvel news to probably kick off the week. There was a new featurette for Moon Knight, which was absolute hype. Loved it. And got me really buzzing for it.
Featurette was good, man. I'm excited to rewatch it again. I'm surprised at how much new footage they're putting out of Moon Knight with this thing right before it gets like started.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a bit silly to say this, but it feels like there's been a bit of a break. I know the last thing we saw was Spider-Man, but it still feels like there's been a bit of a break. So maybe, because like, you know how often we were getting content for weeks and like months and months and months, and now it feels this is like the longest kind of break that Marvel have taken. So maybe they feel like they need to just hype up the fucking promotion for this or something. Maybe I don't think they need to.
And they should.
Well, I don't know.
No, I think they should. It's a fantastic thing to like showcase. Like, we gotta see tons of Moon Knight, as long as it's not clips of things that are happening in like the first and second episode. All I want to see is just concept. Like, if at this point now they decide to go with concept art and just show us like what they were thinking of before they decided to cast, and like showing like the Moon Knight armor, the Mr. Knight gear, Steven, Marc Spector, like I think that would be fantastic to see. And then seeing why they chose, Oscar Isaac for this.
There's chaos in you. The fun of Moon Knight is getting introduced to a new superhero in a new world.
It's a real, legitimate character study.
I can't tell the difference between my waking life and dreams.
This is such a cool shot where he just turns into Mr. Knight as he hits the ground.
Got an incredibly unique visual look.
Our job was to kind of put a lens on the things that had the most dramatic juice, and ultimately take the mental health aspect incredibly seriously.
I am Steven.
The way we're tackling the story, we learn about Steven and then learn about Mark.
What's wrong with you, Mark?
Why did you call me Mark?
And they're the same person.
The tone is like Fight Club meets Indiana Jones. It's a bit dark at times. To tie it into something so vast and supernatural, it's amazing. Thank you.
Can't shoot.
Every
Looks so
aspect
fucking
That
good,
scene.
man.
has
Wow.
and we've shifted the paradigm.
For me, what's really exciting is that it's totally unpredictable.
Every time with that jump.
It's so good.
Disney Plus.
I love how they're doing the logo now. It's just really
Yeah.
cool. It's really cool. Like the Obi-Wan trailer as well. They had the logo, and it was just great.
I gotta be honest, man. Moon Knight, like the way his uniform comes on, like the way his outfit, his superhero
Just forms
outfit,
around him, like.
it's like it's as excited as I got for like Tony Stark when the Iron Man suit was going on, and you saw all of it like engaging and gearing up around him. It's got like the same vibes to me.
Yeah.
And it's the most badass suit up I think we got right now, like in the MCU, and maybe ever. Like it's rad. It's so cool.
I love it.
So,
I absolutely love
so
it.
one thing I wanted to take a note from that though, Hoffman, is I know that you were saying that the original Iron Man design, you love how the robot design of it, where like it clinks in, everything's like you can hear the clanking and clinking.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like with the nanotech, it's just kind of all forming in. With the Moon Knight though, we see it's all forming in. So is it because it's more magical that you prefer this over the nanotech?
I mean, yeah, like I think for Tony Stark and Iron Man, like it was cooler to see how the engineering of the suit came up around him, right? Like that's what's cool about Iron Man to me, is the aspect of that he's an engineer, like a mechanical engineer, and you get all the parts and stuff working. It is kind of similar in the vein of the nanotech where it's like forming around him, but Moon Knight for me works better because it is, like you said, it's like a little bit more mystical. It's also like the mummy bands and the layers of sheets coming up around him. Like it's a little bit different. So I think yeah, it is similar to Iron Man, but I just liked Iron Man's old school one better.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah,
For him.
it was always just so epic when he like is standing in place. I always thought it was really cool as well when I think it was the first Avengers movie where he like came in for the landing, and as he's walking in, it's like taking pieces off him. I thought that was the epiphany of it. I don't think it should have gone any further than that. I think that was as cool as it needed to get. I didn't like think they needed to go down the route of nanotech and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, that and we lose the iconic, landing situation with Iron Man, because the idea was that, as the pieces fall onto him, he makes a superhero landing, and then he puts his head up, like similar to what we've seen with everything.
Yeah.
Especially with like Black Widow and whatnot. But we kind of lose that edge when it's just all nanotech, because at that point, like, he doesn't need to do a superhero landing anymore. It just pops in.
Yeah. Fact, man. Fact. Trying to think.
Are you excited, Finto, to see more about Mr. Knight?
Yeah. Like, we've talked about this already. Like, I'm very much in the new when it comes to this. Like, I know nothing about the storyline or anything, so it's going to be a complete blank slate for me. So yeah, I'm very curious to see like who he is, how he gets like his split personality, because I think isn't he Marc Spector for a long time, and then because does he live? Is it that he's immortal? Is he immortal or something? And then like he's lived too long as Marc Spector that his mind breaks and he makes up Steven or something like that. Is that the story?
Well, actually, the story is about Marc Spector being a mercenary and going out into Egypt, and I believe he runs into a band of other mercenaries. They gun him down. He's on the brink of death. He ends up running into, I think, a statue of Khonshu, and Khonshu communicates with him and tells him, like, if you serve me, I will keep you alive, but you have to become the right hand of Khonshu.
Yeah.
And that's how he becomes Moon Knight. And so because of that, Khonshu's invading his mind and causing a split personality because of like the madness that ensues, like, serving a god. And so in addition to that, you have Moon Knight, Mr. Knight, Marc Spector, and then I can't remember Steven's last name, but you'll see that, he was trying to suppress it. So this might be a different take of him trying not to serve Khonshu anymore and just try to live a normal life as Steven. And that's why it's catching up to him. And eventually we get Marc Spector back, and we'll also see Mr. Knight as kind of like the consultant. And so you'll like, if you were to rewatch the video, you can actually see that Moon Knight is in the Mr. Knight costume when he's hanging out with Khonshu during that moment where you saw the rings like going back and forth.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if we're going to see more Mr. Knight over Moon Knight, because, of course, like I said, Mr. Knight is more of a consultant. Like, you want to go talk to him if you have any issues, if you need something taken care of, and then he goes and takes care of it for you.
Yeah, I think Moon Knight might not make much of an appearance in this first season. It'd be kind of like Daredevil season 1, the way like you only really see the main suit in the last episode sort of thing. So that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me if we were kind of teased with it for a few episodes, then maybe caught a few minutes of it, and then for a few more episodes where flashbacks were fucking filling in all the blanks and stuff like that. Like, so yeah, I don't suspect that there's going to be a massive amount of Moon Knight in the first season.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. He could definitely be like the second to last episode. The last episode, he finally figures out how to put the actual Moon Knight suit on, right? Like, whatever that deal is. But I'm ready for this show, man. Like, I feel like I've seen so much of it already. Like, I'm at that point where sometimes it feels like Marvel doesn't really show us stuff until like right before it releases. For some reason, it feels like Moon Knight's been here for a little bit, and I'm so excited about it. I'm like, okay, we probably should have bumped up this PR like a couple of weeks because I'm ready for it now. And I'm really surprised about the featurette that they put out, and I almost feel like it's because they felt like it was getting lost in all the hype for
Obi-Wan.
Doctor Strange, right? Like, because I was not expecting a featurette, and I don't remember the last time they did that.
And everyone's talking about Obi-Wan, like no one's talking about like this right now, which is crazy.
Yeah, it feels lost right now. Like not in a bad way. It just kind of feels like it almost to me feels like it already came out and like we've already watched the season and we're done talking about it.
Yeah, I showed my girlfriend the featurette, and she was like, "When's this out?" I was like, "In 2 weeks." She's like, "Wow," you know. I was like, didn't even know. So yeah, Nova said in the chat there they did the same thing with the Gotham show. They did like 5 seasons of the show, and you never see him. Like he suits up in the last 2 minutes of the movie, and you see Batman for like the last 2 minutes of the film. It's very true.
That's a Smallville approach.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Jeez.
yeah, like Welling said he never wanted to wear a suit. That was like he loved it. He didn't want to like be sporting the cape and stuff like that. So even when he made his comeback for the big massive crossover event on the CW, came back like 10 years after the show was finished, and still no suit. I
mean, I get it though. I get it because, you know, there's certain actors that just downright want to show their face, and as much as I'd love to see Tom Holland's face every now and then, I kind of want him just keep the mask on. I like the idea, like if you're a superhero, I want you to be the superhero. I want you to be in the costume as a superhero. Yeah. I mean, it like you hardly ever really see any comic book characters taking off their masks or, you know, relieving themselves of their gear until it's like actually time to relax.
Hey, it's Hoppin from the Marvelous Chats. You guys just got done watching a clip from our podcast, the Marvelous Chats podcast, that we put out weekly here on YouTube. We put that thing out every Monday, and so if you want to watch the full podcast that this clip came from, make sure you click on the video you see on screen or down in the description below. You can go see that podcast and see everything else we talk about in that episode, because we talk about everything Marvel, we talk about everything DCU and Star Wars. If it's kind of in the nerdum, in the geekdom, we will talk about it because that's what we are. We're just geeks and nerds enjoying that stuff, trying to talk about our thoughts about it here on YouTube. So if you are into that idea and you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscription button. If you subscribe, we're trying to get this thing above 100, and then we'll get one of those fancy custom URLs that people get for that. Nice. And also leave a like on that video so that you can let other people know that you enjoy the content, and YouTube will share it with people you know or just anyone because it's got a thumbs up. All right, that's gonna do it for the video. That's it for me shilling and trying to get you guys to do stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that clip. Glad you guys stopped in. All right, that's gonna do it. We'll see you guys on the next one.